Cleopatra, not doing very well in the ratings. We've talked about Cleopatra, which is the Netflix documentary about a famously white woman who spoke Greek, who is an ancient ruler around the Mediterranean, who's now being portrayed by a black woman in a way that is a little bit absurd, especially if we're talking about it in a historical product here. Well, turns out viewers agree with my take that this is absurd. The docudrama has a 2% audience score. And not only that, because you might say, well, maybe it was political activists who bombarded the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It's only got 11% critics, too. This thing is getting absolutely panned. One audience member is saying, this is hopelessly inaccurate and a complete failure to understand Egyptian culture and history, no depth or atmosphere of the time, just a poor attempt to Americanize Egyptian history by changing it to suit American culture. Okay, that's what one of the viewers says. And one of the critics says, it's too soapy for serious history fans and not enough soap for viewers who like juicy historical dramas. It's just not proper. I don't know who this actress is. Maybe she's a good actress, but it's not her role. She's miscast. And even a very, very good actor in the wrong role is not going to give you a great performance, and the work of art is going to fail. Falsehood produces bad art. Good art is truthful. What falsehood produces is absurdity, things out of whack. And absurdity and things being out of whack and incongruity, that can make funny comedy. That is one of the most prominent constituent parts of funny comedy. But it doesn't make beautiful art. It doesn't make documentaries, really. People can suss that out. When a modern artist goes around and points to a urinal and says, that's art, isn't it so beautiful? Everyone knows it's not beautiful. It's not because the urinal is a bad thing. The urinal has a proper place. It's called the bathroom. It's called the men's room, or I guess as we move into our brave new world, probably the women's room too. But we know that that's absurd. We would laugh at that. And certainly in an art gallery, that would be absurd. Things need to be in their proper place. Right now, go to CozyEarth.com, promo code Knowles. Everyone deserves the best of everything, including the best night's sleep. You know me. I am a simple man, easily satisfied by the very best. When it comes to sheets, that's Cozy Earth. Our friends at Cozy Earth are here to give you super soft, luxurious, designer-preferred bedding. Whether you are looking to treat yourself or someone you love, Cozy Earth has a gift guide that can help you start looking for that perfect gift. Cozy Earth's luxury bedding and loungewear transforms lives by offering the world's softest, most luxurious, and responsibly sourced bedding. Do you ever wonder what it's like to be lying there on my bed in my boudoir? Get that out of your mind. I'm a married man. But you can have a similar experience on your own bed with Cozy Earth. Their products are temperature regulating and moisture wicking fabric. It will keep you comfy. Right now, they're extending their Mother's Day sale for a limited time. Their site's offering a discount, and our listeners will still be getting up to 35% off with promo code Knowles, Knowles, at checkout. Right now, head on over, promo code Knowles, Knowles. You can save up to 35% off your order at CozyEarth.com. There's for the first part of that book in particular, I talk about this intellectual movement that dominated leftist politics in the 20th century. Well, according to this left-wing MP, quote, cultural Marxism is an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory supported by neo-Nazis and groups like the BNP. Disturbing to see another Tory MP spreading it after Suella Braverman did the same in 2019. We can't let far-right language be normalized in politics. I don't blame cultural Marxism or neo-Marxism or 20th century Marxism, all of which are synonymous, for everything. In fact, I think that intellectual movement is blamed for more than it should be blamed for. And I think the reason it's blamed for more than it should be blamed for is because a lot of conservatives don't realize that liberalism is bad too. That not every terrible thing in the world owes to Marxism. Actually, liberalism, the modern kind of liberalism, the classical kind of liberalism, liberalism broadly, is also very bad. and is responsible for a lot of ills. So sometimes I think conservatives project some of the ills of liberalism onto other intellectual movements, including cultural Marxism. But that doesn't mean that cultural Marxism doesn't exist. It's a very well-known intellectual movement described as such, as a cultural kind of Marxism, by the very prominent left-wing intellectuals at the very prominent institutions which they taught and operated for much of the 20th century. If you look back on Wikipedia just a few years ago, type in cultural Marxism, it'll say cultural Marxism was part of the Marxist tradition in the West that really came to the fore in the 20th century, and it was promoted by thinkers such as Herbert Marcuse, Theodor Adorno, the Frankfurt School. It actually predates the Frankfurt School a little bit, with Italian thinkers like Antonio Gramsci or Lukács. They're wrong. Ultimately, they're wrong about everything. They're wrong in the meantime about a lot of things, but they have lots of interesting observations. I've read them extensively, and in fact, I wrote a book about these guys. To say that that doesn't exist is simply ignorant. But this Tory MP, one, doesn't know anything about anything. So ironically, though she would accuse us of ignorance or dog whistling or whatever, she has never read these people whose intellectual work has laid the groundwork for many of her views and activities, even unbeknownst to her. But furthermore, what she's engaging in is, ironically, or maybe not, a product of cultural Marxism, a product of attaining cultural hegemony, a war of position rather than a war of movement, to use the language of Antonio Gramsci, whereby the libs take over the culture and you barely even notice that they've done it. And then what happens? Once they've attained that cultural hegemony, because they ultimately turn away from objective truth and reality, they deny the reality of what they've done. It's really no different from Stalin erasing people that he liquidated out of his photographs, people that he purged. Just, no, that person was never there. Because if you believe that history is fundamentally a matter not of God's providence and not of ideas coming to their logical conclusions, and not of reason, at least, because Marxists, to some degree, do believe that history is a consequence of ideas coming to their logical conclusions, but it's divorced from reason, it's divorced from objective truth, it's certainly divorced from God. If you believe that it's really just fundamentally about the will, then you can go in and say, oh, yeah, that prominent intellectual movement, yeah, that's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. It's so brazen. It is almost as brazen as saying 50 years from now, oh, you keep mentioning Hillary Clinton. Who's Hillary? Hillary Clinton never existed. What are you talking about? That's a tinfoil hat, racist, phobic, anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. I say, well, look at all the evidence and look at we have all the video footage and we have all of the testimony of the people. What are you talking about? That never happened. 2 + 2 = 5. What are you talking about? How'd you like that clip? Hope you did. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Subscribe. Ring that bell. Make sure you get all the notifications for the Michael Knowles channel. We'll see you next time.